What's up, guys? I'm James and I'm the vocalist in Worthwhile, and you guys have been asking me a lot about some of the stories and the meanings behind these songs, so I want to make some videos to explain kind of what I've been writing about, just so that you guys can get inside my head a little bit. So if this is what gets you stoked, I hope you enjoy. Vagrant. When I was a little kid, my mom made me and my two brothers watch this movie about the Elephant Man, and I don't know if you know who that is, but it's this guy named Joseph Merrick, and he was the most deformed guy to like ever walk this planet. He came down with elephantitis, and so my mom made us watch this movie, and as a little guy, like, it scared the heck out of me. The Elephant Man like haunted my dreams, and I thought he was gonna come and he'd kill me in my sleep, and it just terrified me. And so fast forward like a bunch of years, we're all, me, Austin, my buddy, our guitar player Joe, and our manager Evan, we're living down in Los Angeles at an apartment, and so we're hanging out down there, and my little brother's girlfriend gave us this huge poster of this dog, and so we were hanging it up in our apartment just because we needed something to fill our walls. And I don't know why, but I like called it Joseph Merrick, I called it Merrick or whatever, and I told them the story of like the Elephant Man a little bit, and they were just like, I don't know, it caught on, and so we called this dog, like our poster, Merrick. We kept calling it Merrick. And so it was during that year too, like, you know, I've been writing lyrics, and I had one more song to write, and I was just kind of feeling burnout, and I was like, I know the point I want to hit with this song, but I don't have like something I want to latch on to. I know I'm gonna write, you know, this song about it, whatever. I just had the idea. So I was sitting there, and I remember like looking up at Merrick, at our dog poster, and I was like, I'm gonna write this song with Elephant Man, like I'm just gonna do it. And I kind of said it like half jokingly, and we're kind of, you know, laughing, and then I was like, really felt like I wanted to research this guy's life, because you like scared the heck out of me, but I was just kind of that. I never like really soaked in his life a little bit, and like kind of looked into it, and so I was like, I felt called to do so, and so I started researching Joseph Merrick's life, and it like totally rocked me, so I want to tell you his story a little bit. So Joseph Merrick was born in the 1800s. He was born in England, mom and dad, and so just born like a normal kid. And around 5, he started developing elephantitis, and so his skin and just all this stuff, he just started getting crazy deformed. And so he was kind of growing up, and you know, he was still able to kind of go to school at a young age, and he just, you know, was able to have this like really sweet relationship with his mom. He just loved his mom. His mom was just like his best friend kind of growing up. And so though around 11 years old, Joseph's mom passed away from pneumonia, and so like his best friend like gone, and he's still kind of developing elephantitis and just getting more and more deformed. And so his dad moves in with this new lady, and they get married, and that's within a year. And so Joseph has a stepmom and his dad, and they're growing up, and it's a bummer because his dad and now his new stepmom, they didn't show him any affection, and his stepmom would just mock him and taunt him, and just, I can't even imagine how much pain he's going through at that point. And so he started trying to work a little bit, just to try and kind of provide for himself, because his dad was saying he was becoming a burden on him. And so, you know, he was able to roll cigars for a job, but then his hands got too deformed where he couldn't do that anymore. He had to stop doing that, and so his dad had him start selling stuff for his company, and so he'd go door to door and try and sell whatever the product was. I don't even remember what it was. But he just kept getting, you know, more and more deformed, and so he was just like, people would open up the door and just be horrified at what they saw, and he could barely even talk because the deformity started getting on his face, and he just couldn't even speak because it just didn't. You just couldn't hear what he was saying. It just didn't make sense, and didn't make any sales really doing that. He couldn't, you know, help support himself. And his dad, he came home one day, and his dad just beat the crap out of him. And Joseph left that day and never went home after that. So Joseph's uncle heard about Joseph getting beat and leaving home, and so Joseph's uncle said, hey, you can move in with me. And so Joseph moved in with his uncle, and his uncle was providing for a little bit. He had some other kids though, and so he couldn't keep supporting Joseph. He was like, dude, like, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to, you know, you're gonna have to get out of here. So Joseph left from there, and he met up with this one guy, and he said, hey, make me into a circus act. You know, have people come and pay and come and see me. And so his manager opened up this kind of bar, and it was like a little circus act. It was illegal. And so people would just come though, and they just pay money to see the Elephant Man, is what they titled him. And so people would come and they'd pay a bunch of money to come and see the Elephant Man. And he'd sit there and people would be mocking him and looking at him. And so during this time, a doctor from a hospital kind of came and saw him, and he's like, hey, you know, Joseph, can you come to the hospital and we'll kind of do tests on you and look at you? And so Joseph was like, sure, whatever. And so he's gonna go to the hospital, and they'd have their interns and their nurses, and people were just kind of looking at him and doing some tests on him. And Joseph he felt like an animal when he told the doctor, he's like, dude, like, I don't feel comfortable coming back here anymore. Like, this just, you guys are making me feel, you know, worthless. And so the doctor's like, oh, I'm sorry, and, you know, totally. And so Joseph just kept doing his circus act. And so cops came in, they broke up the circus act, and so Joseph needed to leave, and so him and his manager, they went to continental Europe and started touring out there for people. And so while they're in Belgium, his manager just robbed Joseph, took everything, and left Joseph stranded in Belgium. And at this point, Joseph can't even talk, can't say anything, no one can understand anything he's saying. And he's stuck out in Belgium with nothing. And so he heads back close to England and try and get onto a ferry to get back home. And so he's hanging out there, and people are freaked out, and the police kind of find him, and they see he has a card from that doctor who was kind of befriending him a little bit and bringing him to the hospital. And so they get Joseph Merrick back to the hospital where the doctor was. The doctor invited him in, and we just kind of befriended Joseph. And at this point, the Elephant Man had become kind of a little bit bigger, and so people of nobility and stuff were coming to, you know, pay some bigger money to come see Joseph and look at the Elephant Man. And so more money started coming in, and then his doctor friend was, you know, really caring for him and loving him. And so with the money and with the doctor's care, they'd kind of get him out onto a train, and they'd let him get out into nature. And that was one of Joseph's favorite things, was just to go walk around in nature and just hang out there by himself and soak that in. And so you know, he'd go take those trips. So one night though, he's hanging out in the hospital, and Joseph always felt like he just wanted to be a normal person. He said that all the time. He's like, I just want to be a normal person and be seen that way. And Joseph, just because of like the deformity of his head, he couldn't even like sleep lying down because it'd suffocate him. And so he had to like sleep like sitting down with his knees up and rest his head on his knees, and that's how he slept at nights. Well, one night his doctor kind of came in and saw Joseph laying flat with a dislocated neck and was dead. And the doctor knew, like, he just wanted to sleep like a normal person, and that was the cause of his death. And so every letter that Joseph Merrick would write to people, he'd always end it this way. He says, "'Tis true my form is something odd, but blaming me is blaming God. Could I create myself anew, I would not fail in pleasing you. If I could stretch from pole to pole or grasp the ocean with a span, I would be measured by the soul, the mind's the standard of the man." And you'll recognize those lyrics inside Vagrant.